What's up, guys? So, this is kind of the culmination of all the tier lists, all of that. This is the 50 best players in the game right now, in my opinion. This is kind of a power ranking. I'll probably update it every 2 weeks or a month or something like that with the 50 best in the game. Is there a huge difference between 45 and not being ranked? No, right? So, if a card you like doesn't make the list, don't feel the need to panic about it and tell me how good this card's been for you. That's great, right? But I'm looking at this from a competitive standpoint. These are the cards that I would look to build a roster around. There's some budget options in here that I believe are great cards, but in general, this is competitive cards. So, without further ado, let's get into it. You can see we are back on Show Zone with the tiers. So I'll probably just roughly estimate. I probably won't list them 1 through 50. If they're S tier, just know they're probably like top 10 in the game. Just know if they're A tier, they're more than serviceable, and so on, right? So Santander, I'm going to put in B tier immediately. Great swing, good switch hitter, but overall should not be playing the field for you guys. As a DH, I think he's exceptional. If he's somebody that you guys hit really good with, keeping him at DH will probably not be a bad option, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Babe, obviously one of the better cards in the game. S tier, one of the set one collection cards. Max hitting, has pretty much every hitting quirk. Great swing. Babe's definitely S tier, one of the 5 best cards in the game. Billy Wagner, S tier, probably the best left-handed reliever in the game. I know he's pretty hard to obtain, and a lot of people don't have him, but he's probably the best lefty reliever in the game. Bob Feller, A tier. I think he's just outside probably those 5 best starting pitchers in the game, but really solid. Outlier fastball is obviously a very powerful tool to have, and he's really solid. Bob, I think, sneaks in the best starting rotation in the game. I think he's one of the worst ones, but 3 through 5, he has an argument for being one of the better pitchers. Brett Beatty, great budget card. I thought last year he was fantastic, has a lot of the same swing and whatnot. This year, obviously, no quirks, hurts him a little bit, but looks like a phenomenal card still. Chipper, obviously, probably better than Babe. Probably the best card in the game right now. If you guys have not already got that set one collection done, I do have a video on it. Team Infinity is very important for getting that done. Corbin Carroll, probably on the outside looking in. If you like Corbin Carroll, if you do good with him, if you like those speedy guys who don't hit a ton of home runs but run the bases well, he's phenomenal for that. Good swing. Jeter is probably S tier. I think he's probably still the best shortstop in the game. He's hanging on to that by a thread, but he's still good. Doesn't play the field great for me, believe it or not, but great card all around. Nobody's really messing with him at shortstop. Devin Williams, one of the better relievers in the game right now. I don't know how many relievers are going to make S tier. I don't feel like there's really any shutdown reliever in the game right now. Still kind of waiting on like a Mo or a Flashback Chapman for that. But in the meantime, Devin Williams is one of the better options there. Dustin May has fallen a bit in my pitching hierarchy since I made this initial tier list. Just doesn't really get the job done, but especially on Legend, he's still pretty hard to hit, so he's pretty solid. Ed Matthews, another card, kind of like Dustin. Thought he would be better than he is, and he's still exceptional for a lot of people, but a lot of people would rather have Devers or Chipper or Munataka at third base. Ellie, I've heard some good things about Ellie. I think he's, in that next tier of shortstops under Derek Jeter. The clutch is pretty low. That does worry me for playing on Hall of Fame and Legend. But in general, he looks like a phenomenal card. I've seen him get some really, really freaky animations at shortstop, and he's phenomenal there. Eloy, probably top of B tier. People that use him love him. I don't see the appeal as much, but if he is somebody that you've used and really enjoy, he could be S tier for you. One of the better DHs. I would only DH him. I would not put him in the field, but looks good. Same for this Eric Davis. Plays the field a little better. But if he is somebody that you hit well with, do not, don't take this as a slight. But he's just not quite in the tier of some of these other guys. But really solid card. Gagne, probably the best right-handed reliever in the game right now. And that's not saying a lot because he doesn't really have too much competition there. But as of right now, he's probably the best righty reliever. Tatis, so stats wise, boost wise, phenomenal card. If you can use his swing and hit well with that kind of slow, loopy swing that he has, he's definitely S tier. Otherwise, he's probably an A tier. Lindor, definitely S tier. Probably the only primary shortstop to really rival Jeter for that top spot. A lot of people hit really, really good with this Lindor. Has a great swing, some decent quirks. Very good card. Grayson, a card I wasn't super high on to start with, but probably sneaks in the best rotation in the game at like that 4 or 5 spot. Challenges Bob for one of those spots. Really good card. Has a pretty good pitch mix. Not great speed differentials, but overall, still a very good pitcher. Soto, like the backup best lefty reliever in the game, pretty much. Challenges like Josh Hader, who we haven't seen yet for that title. Probably the hardest lefty to hit with a righty batter. So I think he kind of has that niche, but really solid card. Can struggle with control at times, but nasty delivery, nasty pitch mix. Gets him right there. Gunner, a lot of people love this card. If he is your second baseman or shortstop or a third baseman and you've enjoyed him, I think he is a competitive card. He can be really good. No quirks, hurts him a little bit, but phenomenal card. Hunter Brown is a card that has grown on me. I still think he's B tier, but having that splitter is very valuable, right? There's not a lot of pitchers with the splitters. People haven't seen the splitter that much. Pair that with the outlier fastball and a hard slider, and he's actually a very, very good budget option at pitcher. Really competitive. Pretty hard to hit on the Hall of Fame and Legend, if I do say so. So, top of B tier for him. Jazz, without the captain boost, I'd probably put him B. If you can get the captain boost for cover athletes, that makes him somewhat serviceable against lefties. I think he's top end A tier. Could sneak into S if he hits really well for you. Jim Edmonds, a lot of the same. Pretty similar to Corbin Carroll, right? Hits the ball a lot harder than Corbin Carroll. Plays similar defense, isn't quite as fast. Has a lot of good quirks. If Jim is somebody that you enjoy, he can be that next tier of good for you. But for me, he's probably lower A tier. Jorge Posada, probably the best catcher in the game right now. Some people really like the JT Realmuto, but other than Realmuto or your cap, it is 100% Posada. He's a phenomenal card. Inverse splits, really like to see that. Phenomenal. Hader, mentioned him with Soto. I think they're very similar cards. Hader is a lot easier to hit with a righty than Soto is, so for that reason, I think Soto beats him out a little bit, but Hader is basically unhittable with the lefty if you know what you're doing, and he's great for that. Realmuto, just mentioned him, right? Good timing. Him and Posada, 1A, 1B for catcher. It's just really what do you want? Do you want a faster catcher that plays better defense, or do you want one that's probably going to hit a little better and is a switch hitter? So that's where those two lie. J-Rod, top of A tier. I've seen some guys hit really good with him, and I've seen some people really struggle with him. I think it's hit or miss. If you like his swing, he could be S tier. If you don't like it, he's probably bottom of B tier. Pretty good card, though. Griffey, S tier. One of the better cards in the game right now. I'm not hitting fantastic with him myself, but a lot of people are. Plays good defense. Probably would not play him in center field. He does seem a little slow there, but in one of the corner spots, he is phenomenal. Cattell, my pick for best second baseman in the game right now. It's probably between him and Francisco Lindor. If you want to play Lindor out of position, absolutely phenomenal swing. Has really high clutch, really high contact against lefties. Really enjoy Ketel Marte. Chris Bryant, probably in A tier somewhere. The clutch is pretty low. That's the worst thing about this card. But he has that Chris Bryant swing, plays decent defense, has a lot of good positional versatility. If you can find a spot for him in your lineup, he's really solid. Kyle Tucker has an argument for S tier. I'm probably going to put him at the very top of A tier. If you're somebody that really enjoys his swing, has inverse splits with power against lefties, hits lefties for more power. He is a phenomenal card, has some decent hitting quirks. Really good card, really solid card. Just not really messing with the big dog outfielders. Lou, probably in the same boat. You know, the stats aren't really there to compete with people like Babe at first. But overall, if you really enjoy his swing, he can creep up. Manny is a lot of the same way at third or first base. Really just depends on what you want out of your third or first baseman. Do you want a righty? Do you want a lefty? Do you want that diamond defense and that great reaction and whatnot? Manny has one of the better right-handed swings in the game, in my opinion. Has a breaking ball hitter. Can be really solid. I don't see a lot of people having him, in their S tier, one of their better cards. But in general, I think he is really solid if you can get him. Max Scherzer, probably top of B tier. I don't think he has amazing stuff, but the arm slot is really funky and the pitch mix is pretty good. It's just everything's pretty flat with him. It's pretty hittable. He's either going to pitch great against your opponent or he's probably going to flop. So I think he's very hit or miss. Could be in the best rotation in the game. Just kind of depends on who your opponent is that game and what difficulty you're on. He is not going to have a fun time on All-Star probably. But Hall of Fame and legend, he looks to be very solid. Trout, S tier, obviously. I would definitely say one of the best three outfielders in the game. If you don't have him on your team, you're probably doing something wrong. He is a phenomenal card. Probably my best hitter in my lineup. Cannot recommend Trout enough. Muna, I'm going to put him in S tier. Don't know how many people have done more damage against me than Muna. He is phenomenal, has a pretty good swing. No real quirks, but the power plays a pretty good third base, plays an alright first base, and he has some speed. Muna's pretty solid. Pablo, another one of these like top of B tier pitchers. Really solid, pretty hit or miss in general, but against some players he's going to do really well. Has a good pitch mix with I think a sinker, cutter, slurve, circle change. So he can change speeds pretty well. I think he's going to thrive more so on Hall of Fame and Legend, but in general he's pretty solid. Pedro, probably the second best pitcher in the game right now. As far as starters go, it doesn't get a lot better than Pedro. If Grayson is somebody that you like, Pedro is Grayson on steroids. He is phenomenal. Tops out at 102, 103, 104, almost every single fastball. Has a 78 mile an hour circle change. Those speed differentials are phenomenal. Devers could sneak in the S tier. A lot of people love this card. He looks phenomenal. My only problem with him is he doesn't hit lefties great, and so I don't like him that much. But a lot of people absolutely love the card, and he has gone deep on me, probably more than any other card this year. He is very good. Cano's another one of these just B tier guys. If you really like him, if you hit really good with him, don't let me tell him to Don't let me tell you to take him out of your lineup. He's very solid, has a decent swing, plays a pretty good second base, is a little slow, but I've seen some people really good with him. Roki, my opinion, best starter in the game right now. Barely edges out Pedro. Just has a better pitch mix. Has two outliers instead of one. Funkier delivery than Pedro. What else is there to say? He's my number one starting pitcher in the game. And I actually think this is probably about representative of the top 5 cards in the game, in my opinion, is about these 5. And then Pedro on the outside looking in. Ryan Howard, with the cover athlete boost, honestly has a discussion to be up there with Babe Ruth. It just depends on if you like his swing or not. Me personally, I find it almost impossible to turn lefty lefty with his swing, but he has potential to compete with Babe and Muna. I think he's at least even with Muna. Sammy Sosa should be S tier. The stats are absolutely phenomenal. I don't like his swing at all, but a lot of people hit good with him. A lot of high end players hit pretty good with him. So for that reason, I'll put him here. Probably the best outfield defender in the game. Gets some ridiculous animations, some really good jumps, and he's somewhat fast. So Sammy, I don't have a problem with being in S tier. This Otani is probably going to struggle on the mound for you. Doesn't top out with outlier as much as you would like, and his pitch mix is kind of underwhelming, and his delivery is pretty hittable. But as a DH, he's also phenomenal, so you kind of have to factor that in. Torrey Hunter, probably like lower A tier. I'm gonna put him B tier. The stats are really good, right? I don't love the swing that he has, but he also has breaking ball and dead red. So I think he has potential to be really good. I haven't used him. This is probably the one card on the tier list that I haven't used at all. But I think he looks really good. I think he could compete with Corbin Carroll and some of these other cards for one of the better backup outfield spots in the game. I think he looks really solid. Would not play him in center. He is a little slow for that. But in a corner, he would be phenomenal. Trey Turner probably sneaks in bottom of S tier. Me personally, I don't like the card. He doesn't hit great for me. Gets a lot of weak contact. But max clutch. Would play a good second base. Probably plays a pretty good shortstop. But he has made quite a few errors for me in center field. Gets pretty bad jumps in center field. So for that reason, I ding him a little bit. And he doesn't hit that great for me, but he does hit great against me. So for whatever that says, really good card. Vlad, I'm going to put bottom of S tier. Has a good swing. Probably one of the better DHs in the game. I would not put him in the field. I think him, Otani, probably Devers, and maybe like Eloy are probably your best options at DH right now. Maybe Ryan Howard if you really like him. Those are all very slow guys with poor defense and great bats. Willie McCovey, I think, has potential to be like the Muna, the Howard, the Babe Ruth, kind of like prototype left-handed first baseman. I think he can compete with pretty much any of those guys. Seen his swing, looks pretty good. Has dead red, has breaking ball, has like almost maxed out power. If I'm not mistaken, he looks really good. And then Yu Darvish, top of A tier. I think he's kind of similar to Bob Gibson, not in his pitch mix, but in his position. I think he is that 4 to 5 best starter in the game. Has that argument, can slot into one of those spots for you guys. Really solid for that reason. And yeah, that is the comprehensive power rankings for 5 to 23. Probably update it in about a month or so. See, who falls out, who doesn't. And yeah, so this is 50 is Brett Beatty for me. You can make an argument any of these guys could be 50. And then number 1 for me is Chipper, personally. But you can make an argument for pretty much any of these top, what's that, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Any of these top 6 guys have an argument for being one of the better cards in the game. I think they all are phenomenal in their own rights. And yeah, guys, if this was helpful to you guys at all, feel free to like and subscribe. Peace.